Did you see the Lakers last night? Russell Westbrook did not look like the answer. Also, the Brooklyn Nets fall tragically to the Bucks. We'll talk about that. And the controversy surrounding the ALCS, the was there a blown strike? We'll talk about it. And finally, it's opening night for the Sixers. We take it in New Orleans. More the Phillies in the house. Let's get it.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the More Than Philly Sports Network. It is great to be here with all of you today. It is 4:03 p.m. on the East Coast on Wednesday, October 20th, 2021. As always, joined alongside my co-host, Gavin Tony. We got a lot to go over, as Gavin outlined for everybody today. Russell Westbrook might not be the answer in LA. I have some things to say about that. I think we got to pump the brakes for this Lakers team. We'll talk about it here in a minute. A very overwhelmingly old team, but we'll get to that in a minute. The other title favorite team, the Brooklyn Nets, also being handed a loss last night. Just didn't look good altogether, specifically with the biggest concern from last year, which is interior defense. Are they going to be able to overcome that without having Kyrie on the floor this season? And then, of course, some conversations about the baseball world. Two very exciting games last night between the ALCS and the NLDS, between Dodgers taking the win and Astros evening up their series at 2 apiece. So, with that being said, Gavin, let's dive right into it. We're going to start with the NBA today. We're going to start with the games that went on last night. Both of us going 0 for 2 on our predictions on the games as a whole. Warriors did beat the Lakers in a close one, and the Nets got just decimated by the end of the game. It was just not in their favor. Did not look the best. I think that overall, it was great to have the NBA back last night. It's the first regular season start time in 2 years. Since they started 2 years ago, pre-COVID. But last night as a whole, the Milwaukee Bucks were just on a whole different level. Usually you'll get that energy after a championship in that first game, so it's not a surprise to me. 37 points to start the game, 29, 31, 30. Only one quarter without 30 points, and that was 29, so pretty good for them overall. And the Nets just couldn't hold on at all. 25, they had 34 in the second, 26 in the third quarter, and obviously the bench was emptied in the fourth, so they only had 19. But some of the concerns at the moment for the Bucks team, allowing 32 points to Giannis, 14 boards, 7 assists. I mean, you're not going to stop Giannis. Credit where credit is due. He gets better every single season. And this, winning a title, is not going to slow him down from continuing to get better. Great guy overall, great personality, everything in between. Drew Holiday just had 12 points last night, only 1 assist, which is usually his bread and butter. So disappointing night for him, only 18 minutes.
He does leave, Zach. He does leave.
He did leave with an apparent injury. We'll see to continue the updates on that. Grayson Allen, 10 points in his debut with the team, 28 minutes total. Brook Lopez only 8 points. But Chris Middleton, 20 points. He has to be that Robin. He's got to be it consistently. When Giannis is doing his part, or even when he's not, Chris Middleton has to be that guy, that go-to. And Drew Holiday as well is going to have to be a reliable player. But Gavin, one thing I noticed last night, we don't talk about the Bucks as a super team. Nobody thinks of them as a super team because they don't have two they have 2 all-stars, but not 2 superstars. They have 1 superstar. But as they started to announce the team last night for the rings, and you think of guys like off the bench Pat Connaughton and George Hill, who we know did not have the best year last year, but you listen to Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, and Giannis as well. This is a pretty dang good team. Might not be a super team, might not be at the caliber of the Lakers or the Warriors or the Brooklyn Nets, but they are still up there as a very talented team and obviously a contender. Frankly, until further notice, they have to be my favorite to win the NBA title. It's not my team. I have the Lakers winning the NBA Finals, them beating the Nets in 6, but obviously we're far, far from there. So just some first reactions as a whole. Giannis looks very good. Very motivated.
Yeah.
Sorry, very, very motivated and very hungry.
Well, Zach, first of all, that's what happens when you actually improve, Zach. He didn't get the championship and say, all right, cool, I got mine, time to go defend. Zach, he got his and immediately went to the gym. Zach, this man shot 4 threes, made 1 of them. Zach, it's the willingness to do it. His mid-range shot looked improved the whole entire time. Zach, he was 7 from 9 from the 3 free throw. So the whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to stop this year, ladies and gentlemen. That probably will stop. It's like it might still take forever, but if it goes in, it goes in. Now, you talk about guys like Pat Connaughton, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton. Pat Connaughton had 20 points last night off the bench, along with Norwell. I don't know how to say that, but he had 15 off the bench as well. Zach, this team, if you look at it, is not a super team. This team, to me, reminds me of the Golden State Warriors of their first championship, and I'm talking before the Kevin Durant years. I'm talking about a team that drafted Giannis Antetokounmpo, drafted Chris Middleton. They brought in a guy, and Zach, the best part about their point guard position was it was rotated. It started with Brandon Jennings when Giannis first started making the playoffs. That wasn't the answer. You ran with Eric Bledsoe for a little while. That wasn't working. So what do? You go out and you go get Drew Holiday. You go get your guy that can score when needed to, but he is a facilitator. He passes the ball. He plays great defense. And this is a group of guys that play well together and have a Greek freak to be exact, as a superstar, a guy that's dominant in the post. And you're right, Zach. Only one person comes to mind that can stop Giannis and the whole entire NBA, and that's himself. Like, he is his own enemy some days, and it's hard to say that. But like this summer, he definitely took his time out to go to the gym and work on his jump shot. And finally, Zach, I don't disagree with you. My main criticism of Chris Middleton was be the consistent Robin. That was my criticism for all last year. Was cool. Batman is here, but what about the Robin? What about the Alfred? Zach, Alfred is Drew Holiday, and Chris Middleton is Robin. So they have to continue to play like that. I am really interested to see how long Drew Holiday is going to be out. It was a right heel contusion, so I don't know, Zach. You could tell me that must hurt if you didn't if you left the game.
Without a doubt, yes, and that's something we will certainly keep an eye on. So overall, good win for the Milwaukee Bucks. Just some team stats: they shot 45%, 37 from the field, from the 3-point line, 77% free throws total, and they out-rebounded the Brooklyn Nets by 10. Now let's talk about the other side of the ball, the title favorites this year. I look at this roster and I see a lot of good role players. I see a team that's more put together than it was last year. Last year kind of felt like a rush. They traded for James Harden quickly, got rid of Jared Allen, got rid of Karis LeVert, got rid of a couple of other key pieces that were involved in that 3-team trade. Kevin Durant has been, like you said, Gavin, he picked up right where he left off, 30 minutes, 32 points, 11 boards. Blake Griffin, 6 points. He's a starter now. He's got 6 points. He's got some work to do. Nicholas Claxton, I'm a big fan of him. I don't love him at the center position. I think he's too small. He's a great defender when he's playing the 3 or the 4, defending the 3 or the 4. But he's going to have a lot of trouble against big men in this league this year, only 12 points, 7 boards. And then James Harden, who had 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Overall, a below-average night for James Harden. This team's going to start to gel better, but right now, guys like Joe Harris, 9 points, it's not going to happen every night. But you look at some of these other guys, your bench could stink quickly, right? You got Patty Mills, who's a great addition to the team. LaMarcus Aldridge, we don't know how good he'll be. But then you got guys like Paul Millsap, Bruce Brown, and then you have guys that you honestly don't even know who they are.
Cam Thomas, I'm really high on Cam Thomas, by the way.
But no offense to them, of course, but this bench gets thin, and it gets thin quick. So could have wound up with Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, Nicholas Claxton, James Harden, Joe Harris, Patty Mills, LaMarcus Aldridge, and then you probably throw Bruce Brown in there. There's your 8 guys for the playoffs. Is that team good enough to contend? I don't think so. I really don't at this moment. I think that the missing piece is very clear and very obvious, and it is a competent second guard, which they have, Kyrie Irving, but at this moment there's still not enough there. They don't have a good center. Even Andre Drummond would have made them contenders. But just from what I learned last year about this team and what I see right now, there's nothing I see that says instant title contender. Instant Eastern Conference final should be their contender. Kevin Durant, James Harden, easily enough to do that. But 2 things I'm concerned about, their interior defense role players as well, but also James Harden needs to be more productive this year, actually scoring the ball, given that he's not going to get as many calls and go to the charity stripe as often as he has in the past.
Zach, this is perfect because now James Harden has to adapt his game. It's no longer being able to jump into people. It's no longer being able to do the soft moves he did. James Harden is one of the greatest scorers we ever seen in his game. Zach, think of this like that. Two of the best, or in the top 5 ISO scorers in the game right now, 2 of them are on the same team. Now I'm gonna give James Harden a pass because Zach, he wasn't himself at the end of last year due to the hamstring and I'm gonna give him a pass to try to get him to find his groove, Zach. But that pace will pick up. James Harden didn't have a terrible night. 20 points is pretty pedestrian for James Harden, in my opinion, for a guy that get average 28 to 30. That's going to get better, but Zach, you're not wrong. The clear-cut, obvious person I was missing was Kyrie Irving. It was that simple. Zach, you have a team where the top five ISO players, 1, 2, and 3, not in that order, but Zach, out of the top five, you have 3 of them on your team, and only 2 of them are playing. Zach, it's clear cut, obvious who's missing is Kyrie, and I just realized this today. The NBA is sending a private business, Zach, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong because I know this is up your alley when it comes to business and stuff. When you work for a private business, they can tell you what to do. It's a mandate, right? You get what I'm trying to say? Like
It's not a mandate. So what happens is that the city of New York, city of Los Angeles, city of San Francisco, you can't play in the arena unless you're vaccinated. And so the Nets as a team decided, well, we're not, since 41 of our games are home, he's not, why put him in and out of the lineup? We'd rather keep consistency. So Kyrie's not going to play unless he gets vaccinated. There's no NBA team in the league has a mandate on the vaccines. It's simply legislative. However, the organization has decided that he will not play until he's gotten vaccinated since he can't play in home games. So they actually worded it differently. They said until he's in compliance with the vaccine mandate. So it might change, saying that if he has a different exemption, which I know he did not, he got denied the religious exemption, but if there was another exemption, then he'd be allowed to play. So there are still ways around it. But as our friend Dom said yesterday, it's if he wants to continue playing, it's in his best interest to get vaccinated.
Zach, I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna say it short and sweet. I love Kyrie. Zach, his game is all world offensively. You can't miss. I mean, that's box office himself. The bigger picture here, there's a lot of pictures that you can look at it. If you want to look at it from the basketball route, the bigger picture is title. Zach, they are the favorites now. You gotta give respect to the defending champions because they are the champs until the new champion is crowned.
They looked pretty damn good last night.
They looked pretty damn good last night. But the bigger picture in the basketball world is you are the last piece to go and win this title. Zach, you're worried about the interior defense, which you're not wrong. Zach, I'll take it another step further. I'm worried about health. KD, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving all have history of not being able to complete a full season to a certain degree. We saw it last year with Kevin Durant missing games. James Harden missed a good amount of games, and Kyrie Irving took a vacation, as you like to call it. Zach, I don't know, but if Kyrie Irving comes back, this team will automatically scare. It's just one game now. If this continues to happen, the man that I wouldn't say is the answer, the guy that you have to answer to or signs off a lot of things. If Kevin Durant wants you gone and wants to win more and wants to win a title and doesn't believe in you anymore, Zach, remember, Kevin Durant has Kyrie Irving's back through this whole entire time. Everything that was asked to him, he's always defended Kyrie, came to his back. But Zach, when it comes to winning games, we'll see what really happens. In this battle between Kyrie versus the Nets and Kyrie versus the vaccine, I think Kyrie will cave after 10 games.
I think it'll be later than that, but I do think he does come down to it. I mean, the hesitation, everybody, classic daily phone, but I think that there is, for whatever reason, there are people who have their rights to hesitation of the vaccines and whatnot. They have a right to have their hesitation. They have a right to want to look at it themselves. But end of the day, he has a job to do. He works in a private industry. He makes a lot of money to be able to do it. So at the end of the day, I think that he has to make the decision that's best for him. If he's looking at the team's best interest, then it would be in that case to get vaccinated. But at the same time, if it's personal interest, whatever he views it as for whatever reason, it's up to him to make that decision. No one can force that on you, but your decisions do have consequences.
I do find with the what Adam Silver said a little bit eye raising last night. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not. Can you?
He said you get the vaccine to family first, and I forget after that. But those were the two things that were stuck out. It kind of seemed like that Adam Silver was against what Kyrie Irving's beliefs, but obviously it's Adam Silver, and Adam Silver was best for the league and everybody and everything. So I just kind of find his comments a little bit eye-raising. I'm going to try to pull him up as we go along, but go ahead, Zach.
Again, you can't force anybody to make a decision. We're not going to touch the controversial side of this. We're going to purely keep it black and white. Argue it however you want to, but private companies have a right within their limits to do what they want to. No team has implemented has implemented a mandate on the vaccination. It's purely regulatory by the government. So just to keep people cleared up on that as far as what you can and can't have as your rights. You can have an opinion. You can say whatever you want as long as you're educated on it on either side. Like I will sit here and debate someone who wants to argue in favor of Kyrie, in which I have my own personal arguments that I could argue in favor of him, but I also have my own personal arguments that I could argue against him. And all of those are based off of fact. And that's how you have a good civil debate. So with that being said, Gavin, whatever statement you have on Adam Silver, we'll hear those discussed, and then we'll get over to the Lakers game.
I got it right here. I tell him to get vaccinated. First and foremost is for him and himself and his family. Next, for his teammates and his community, and also for the league that I know he cares so much about. That's what Adam Silver said about Kyrie Irving to convince Kyrie to get vaccinated. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to debate about if you should or shouldn't get it. Zach, that's not what we're here for. We're going to call how we see it. Zach, it is his choice. He can do what he wants to do. But the bigger picture, if you want to stick just to basketball, Zach, just to basketball, there is a big risk that is being missed right now, basketball-wise.
That there is, and the Brooklyn Nets need Kyrie. You watched the playoffs last year; it makes it evident. Again, I've been very critical of Kyrie over the last year because of his off-court issues. The fact, I mean, you never had other teammates have that kind of level of issue with LeBron James that Kyrie had to have with him. And I said it last year. I said the only thing that's going to destroy this Nets team this season, referring to last year, was themselves, and they did. Due to injury, unfortunate, but this year it's going to be because of personal decision-making. So with that being said, we are going to shift gears to the West Coast, and man, oh man, I have missed listening to Kevin Harlan at 10 o'clock at night on TNT. I think everybody can agree that it's just a pinnacle of the year. It's awesome. I mean, it means getting cold outside. Dare I mention golf when it comes to weather, but that's a conversation for a different day. It was great to have basketball back yesterday. The former defending champion Los Angeles Lakers hosted the Golden State Warriors, a rematch of the play-in tournament yesterday. Both teams starting off strong. LeBron James 3 for 3 in the first quarter beyond the arc. He finished the game with 34 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. Anthony Davis, 33 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists. And on the other side, Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry, 21 points, also with 10 rebounds and 10 assists.
A triple-double.
There was an insane betting line on having a triple-double. I have a friend that did make money. That did make good money on that bet. So, two things I want to say about this. Number one, the Golden State Warriors, a very underrated thing about Steve Kerr and the Warriors organization, they find great role players. Every championship they've won, every year. Say what you want about Kevin Durant. Say what you want about Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. Say what you want about any of that. They find great role players. Last night, Damian Lee, 15 points. I can't pronounce it. Gavin, you have to help me here. Just pronounce it. BJELICA. Betchyk, something like that.
We'll roll with that. That sounds good to me.
He was a Sixer at 1.2, by the way, and he had 15 points as well. Andre Iguodala had 12 points. So all in all, 20 points for Jordan Poole as a starter. Curry 21. So yes, they develop role players like crazy. And I said this 2 years ago, Gavin. I believe we had just started the show at this point. Let the young guys play. I remember 2 years ago, Curry was hurt, Klay was hurt, Kevin Durant was gone. Let the young guys get starting experience. That way they can be good role players for a potential championship team. It's starting to show. It come to a head. The Warriors, very impressive win last night. And number 2 on my list, efficiency. The Lakers are known to be a very efficient team. Russell Westbrook is the opposite of that. So they got some work to do to figure it out. Surprisingly, they actually had a better field goal percentage. However, a significantly worse free throw percentage. They did not get to the line as much as the the Warriors did. That's the big difference. But that's this team. Russell Westbrook, LeBron James not screaming the best free throw shooters. Russell Westbrook not the most efficient. This is the first game that the Anthony Davis, LeBron James era has lost where both players have scored more than 30 points. This game will be an outlier. The Lakers will be fine. But they have some gelling to do. Russell Westbrook needs to revisit his approach, or else it could be costly for this team down the road because LeBron is an AD of the show, and Russ has to be there to be a role player, and he can't be inefficient if he's going to be a role player.
Well, Zach, first of all, I just want to put on the Lakers side, no one else outside of those two, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, no one else had above 10 points. The next closest person to 10 points was my man Carmelo Anthony, who, Zach, in my honest opinion, you could arguably start. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Now, when it comes to Russell Westbrook, his game, he's not a great shooter. Zach, his jump shot is streaky. He can hit a three from time to time, but it's really on a decline. Now, how are you going to be able to play in a system like this where Zach, you're right, efficiency is one, and this team lacks shooters. Zach, this was always a problem for the Lakers, whether it was Contavious Caldwell Pope or whether it was anybody else that they bring on to shoot a three, whether it was Wesley Matthews or this year's Wayne Ellis. I don't know, Zach. They get new players every year. But that's always been a problem for them is just not having 3-point shooters. And Russell Westbrook, I love Russell Westbrook, Zach. He's a dog. You're going to get a fighter out of him. He can do everything else but be able to shoot a jump shot. So my thing is LeBron James is not that great of a 3-point shooter. Arguably needs the ball to actually do something sometimes, Zach, because he is a great playmaker. Anthony Davis can shoot a three ball, has declined over the last year and a half, but will go back up in percentages later as he gets more playing time. But how are you gonna get Russell Westbrook more touches? How are you gonna get Russell Westbrook integrating his offense? It's like it will take some time. Me as a Russell Westbrook fan, I didn't like what I saw last night. All right, because we know Russell Westbrook's better than that. We know Russell Westbrook is way better than that. Than 8 points, 8, 5, and 4. I'm not saying to come out and have triple double numbers because like if he could figure a way to maybe run a pick and roll with Anthony Davis and cut to the basket or work on his mid range game or something where he could take mid range shots just to space the floor or anything, that would be fine. That would be fine. But it's like last night, I'm not going to overreact. I just, as a Westbrook fan, I didn't like what I saw. And if I can touch on Golden State Warriors, you talk about role players. You talk about guys like Jordan Poole. You talk about guys like Kayvon Looney, Andrew Wiggins, Damian Lee, Belichick. I'm gonna learn how to do that. Belichick.
Figure it out. We'll get some
We'll figure it out.
pronunciations
We'll
ready.
figure it out. We promise. And Andre Iguodala. They all four of those guys or three of those guys off the bench gave you 10 plus points. Steph Curry didn't have a phenomenal shooting day, but he was able to make up in other areas. It's like this team could go to the Western Conference Finals if Klay Thompson of old shows back. It's been over 2 years since Klay Thompson has stepped foot on the basketball court in a meaningful game. I'm interested to see Zach. This is a good start for the Warriors, and Jordan Poole is the reason why they won this game last night.
Yeah, great game for him. 15 points for 20 points, I believe, right?
20 points.
Great game overall for the role players. That's going to be the difference maker. So with that being said, we're going to transition now around the NBA. We got a lot of scores, a lot of games to go over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games tonight starting at 7 p.m. We're going to start with the Pacers, Hornets. We'll go through quickly, sentence or less, try to make a prediction and any other key notes about it. I'm going to go with the Hornets tonight. They got high expectations this year. They're going to come up strong.
I got the Hornets tonight, Zach. LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges will continue to improve.
All right, Bulls, Pistons. Let it begin. Play the Alan Parsons theme. Michael Jordan's Bulls aren't necessarily here, but it's a new generation of a Bulls team. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, a couple other role players. Nikola Vucevic. Give me the Bulls tonight.
Give me the Bulls tonight. I do like the rookie Cade Cunningham. I can't wait to see how that works out in Detroit. There's a new era starting there. But Zach, you're right. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Kobe White, Vucevic. That's a bad team right there. And Billy Donovan is the coach.
Give me awesome. A lot to look forward to here. Celtics, Knicks in Madison Square Garden. For once in a long time, the Madison Square Garden, the Garden, will be full with fans for a New York Knicks game. It's hard not to root for Boston tonight. They didn't make huge news in the offseason. They acquired Al Horford. Brad Stevens moved to the front office. They have a new head coach. The Knicks, on the other hand, they got Kemba Walker. He'll be with his new team against his old team tonight. Of course, he went to OKC for a couple weeks during the summer, but his contract was kind of handed off in the intermittent phase. Give me New York tonight. Give me the Knicks. I think that Julius Randle is very upset with how he played in the playoffs. He's going to come out strong tonight. The defense, as it was last year, Tom Thibodeau working hard here in his third year with the Knicks, or 2.5 years with the Knicks. So give me the New York Knicks over Boston Celtics. And we're getting you that Knicks jersey this year.
Can it be Kemba Walker?
I'll give you it. We're getting the City That Never Sleeps jersey.
Okay, but it just needs to be. Listen, Zach. Cardiac Kemba's back at home, back in New York, back to where that deadly crossover, Zach, and going back to the UConn days, that deadly step back that sent that poor soul to the ground. Zach, Give me the Knicks tonight. And by the way, I'm actually high on the Knicks this year. The improvement of R.J. Barrett. I mean, Julius Randle's going to be better. It's like I was laughing at Julius Randle last year. Now Julius Randle is. You have to take him seriously. And Derrick Rose, the resurgence of Derrick Rose is another.
Also, Emmanuel quickly is there. He's been efficient.
Popping. These brothers can ball. New York Knicks basketball is back. It's like I'm gonna come out and say it when Madison Square Garden and when the Knicks are winning, the NBA just feels right. I like New York tonight.
All right, we're gonna have to see if we agree on that one. New York Knicks, Wizards, and Raptors. The Raptors are home for the first time in almost 2 years. They are back in Scotiabank Arena. I believe that's still the name in Toronto. Give me the Raptors. They're looking for a rebound this year. The Wizards are just a tank team that doesn't know it yet. Bradley Beal expected to play. He's been battling a little bit of an injury. Kyle Kuzma just looks like he doesn't know how to play basketball, but we'll see what color hair he dyes it this year. But with that being said, I'm taking the Raptors in a comfortable win tonight.
Zach, you could dye. Zach, listen, Kyle Kuzma could dye his hair orange, blue, black, or pink. It doesn't matter. The Raptors are winning tonight. It's going to be they're back home, Zach. They're back home. That's all that matters. They're back home, and your energy is going to be jam-packed tonight.
First game in about a decade without Kyle Lowry as a starter. He's down in Miami, so we'll see how that affects them this season. But Fred VanVleet looks like he's ready to fill the role. Rockets, Timberwolves. It's going to be a fun game for young guys, but let's go with the Timberwolves tonight. And they win comfortably. I think they're going to be a borderline playoff team this year, assuming that Karl-Anthony Towns stays. D'Angelo Russell expected to play tonight. Anthony Edwards looking for his big bounce this year after being snubbed of Rookie of the Year last year. Timberwolves aren't the best organization. They haven't done the best things in the last few years, but they got some talent.
Anthony Edwards is actually like he beefed up in the summertime. Look like he's been hitting the gym. But I'm going with the Rockets tonight. Something tells me about Jalen Green is going to have a coming out party tonight. And by the way, Steven Silas is the second year as coaching, so something different is going to happen. But I like Jalen Green tonight. I don't know why. Jalen Green and the Rockets.
All right, let's see. Houston Rockets tonight. John Wall still playing despite requesting a trade earlier this month. Cavaliers, Grizzlies. I think it'll actually be a closer game than people think, but I will give the home team the benefit of the doubt. Memphis Grizzlies, they have the better team.
Jaren Jackson just got paid. John Morant is a bad brother, and they're only going to get better, Zach. I'm going with the Grizzlies. I'm going with the Grizzlies. It's not going to be close.
All right, Magic and Spurs. Honestly, this is a game that I probably won't even pay attention to tonight. But Coach Popovich might be in his last season. The team's preparing for that. Maybe he'll give them one more run. They always play hard under him, and the Magic are still just a mess altogether. So the Spurs will die off this year. They won't be a relevant team, but I think they'll start the year with a little bit of momentum.
I'm actually going to go with the Magic tonight, Zach. I love Pop, but I just don't see who's on this team that can come out and give any problems this year. But I'm going tonight. I'm going with the young guns. I think you get Markelle Fultz back tonight. Jalen Suggs actually has his first game. Didn't look too good in the preseason. And Cole Anthony, year 2. So this is going to be something to watch. I'm going with the Magic.
All right, hey, let's see. Next game, Thunder and Jazz in Utah. Give me the Jazz. No question about it. Thunder looking for that first overall pick.
Jazz.
No question about it. Not much to say there. Kings, Trailblazers. All right. I'm going to say it. It is a bold take. I have a couple bold takes on this. The Kings will win tonight. Number 1. Number 2, the Kings will be they will be in the play-in. And number 3, despite what Damian Lillard said last night, he's going to regret his words about loyalty because the Trailblazers will not be good this year.
Zach, you give the man the new coach. You give Chauncey Billups his first opportunity, and it's with Damian Lillard. They still got CJ McCollum. I'm not a big fan of Yusuf Nurkic because I still don't think he's the great answer because he's streaky. But I like Damian Lillard in the point of Trailblazers tonight. Give him about 20 games, and Damian Lillard wins out. Loyalty, I get it, but at some point, it's you gotta let go.
Everybody's got to get there at some point. That's my belief, at least. And then our final game in the late night before we talk about our hometown team, Nuggets, Suns. Jamal Murray, not sure if he's back. I will figure that out coming off of that torn ACL. Let's see. He is not going to be playing tonight. Jamal Murray will not be. All right, I'll take Phoenix then. I think the Suns are looking for some redemption this year. I like a lot of what's going on there. The coach is great. Point guard is great. Shooting guard is phenomenal. Center is good. Role players are phenomenal. I like the Suns tonight. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to repeat the success they had last year. They might take a step back. But based off of what we know at the moment, They're a very good team, best team in the Western Conference last year. So, give me the Phoenix Suns.
Zach, I'll take the Suns as well, just because of the fact that there's no Jamal Murray. But don't sleep on Nikola Jokic. I mean, he is the reigning MVP, so he will bring everything he has to the table. But there's a storyline here in Phoenix. It's not about how great Devin Booker would be. It's not about how great CP3 would be. It's going to be about DeAndre Ayton and not getting his money, and he should go on a reigning hell tour this year. And also, Zach, it's going to be how great is the role players: Cam Johnson, Michael Bridges, Cameron Payne. How good are these guys going to look this year after their deep run? They look phenomenal last year in the playoffs. Now let's see that actually takes the next step.
Yeah, it's got to repeat, or else they're not going to be a good team this year. Those are the X factors that you see in teams that tend to fall off. So, finally, what does this week look like for the Sixers? They're in New Orleans. They come home against Brooklyn. They go out to Oklahoma City against the Thunder. They got the Knicks, the Pistons, the Hawks, Trailblazers, Bulls. Very, very, very mixed competition that they'll be playing. I don't want to be heavily optimistic about the Sixers. I'm not. They're a top 5 team, but they're not anything better than that. Ben Simmons is not playing tonight due to a suspension. According to sources that have broke recently, he's not against playing. Will he be good when he plays? I don't know. We're just going to have to find out. But let's as fans go under the assumption that your starting point guard is actually unknown. Either Tyrese Maxey or Shake Milton. I expect the Sixers to win tonight, given that Zion's not playing. But it's going to be a close, uncomfortable game, and the Sixers are not going to look great.
Zach, the big man's going to come out each tonight. I'm predicting 35 and 15. And a little shot towards Ben Simmons saying it wasn't me, it was you. Now, I want Tyrese Maxey to come out and start tonight. This is the future. Ben doesn't want to be here. Fine. Let's see what we got. I like what I saw in the G League, or in the little, not the G League, excuse me, the little summer league, whatever it is, Zach, where they go to Vegas and they play for a little while, where Tyrese Maxey was having a coming out party again. I like what I saw from there. I think he's going to be the future as of right now. And you're right, Zach, it's not going to be comfortable. You're going to have some moments where you're going to be yelling at the TV, but at the end, they will pull it off. The Pelicans don't have Zion Williamson tonight. Brandon Ingram still has to have a bounce back year after last year. And Eric Bledsoe is a point guard. So I'm interested to see how that works.
Yeah, just an update. Shake Milton is battling an injury, so he is out of the lineup tonight. So presumably Tyrese Maxey will start. I expect high things from him.
What's his name?
Shake Milton.
We didn't give his name back. His name
was toward the end of last year. Anyway, so tonight I expect to win. I'm going to say sloppy 109 to 104. Comes down to the final 2 possessions.
I'm going 110, or excuse me, not 110. 110. Listen, y'all, I had school today. 110 to 105, Zach. It's going to come down to the final few possessions. I agree with you, but ultimately it's going to be the big man closing it out. And Andre Drummond is going to have a nice party tonight, dude. I'm predicting 4 blocks.
All right, let's see. Competent center, probably the best Joel Embiid has had in his career. Coming up after this, a controversial call in the ALCS. Why it doesn't matter, and Red Sox fans need to suck it up. And finally, the Los Angeles Dodgers, Cody Bellinger's resurgence, 3-run home run, and then Gavin's guy Mookie Betts taking the lead for the Dodgers. They're now just down 2-1 as they finish up this series coming up after this.
We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode.
All right, let's break it down. 2 very exciting games last night, to say the least. Houston Astros, 5:08 p.m. tonight, game number 5. The last 2 games will be in Houston, so tonight a pivotal one for Houston. If Houston wins tonight, they kind of all but have this series. All they got to do is win one of the games at home. But the Houston Red Sox, let's be honest, have looked like the more dominant team this whole series. However, last night, a controversial ball strike call led to a 7-run inning in the 9th. Tied up at 2 apiece. Red Sox still had no answer for it. Red Sox fans got to quit whining. They've had the benefit of the doubt this whole series. You didn't have to give up the other 6 runs in that ball strike call. That's up to the Houston. That's up to the Red Sox as a whole, and just an absolute implosion for the Red Sox last night. They really dug into their bullpen last night. Just taking a look here, they went multitude. They went 6-7 guys deep, and a couple of those guys will not be available tonight. So, going to be interesting for them. On the Astros side, Jose Altuve, a big home run to break open the tie, and then of course later in the game, the team as a whole getting the job done, and overall tied up at 2 apiece. It wasn't pretty. It was very ugly, but the Astros are tying it up. And tonight at Fenway Park, the Red Sox have a chance to take a 3-2 lead. All they need is one win in Houston. The Astros, on the other hand, a win tonight. All they need is one win at home. Otherwise, they'll have to win out.
See, Zach, this is what I get a great laugh out of. Your team hits, 2 grand slams in back-to-back innings in, what was that, game 2? And then you come out and you hit another grand slam in game 3. Now, I get it. Balls and strikes, blown strike calls. I get it. It's not over. There is a team in San Francisco, the San Francisco Giants, who lost Zach on a horrible check swing call. I'm not a big Giants fan. I really don't like the Giants due to Gabe Kapler, but you can't hate on the man's success. But Zach, even you and I, we came on the show the next day, and we were like, ooh, damn, that wasn't that good. That was a bad call. Now, mistakes happen. That's baseball. Zach, baseball's not perfect. If baseball was perfect, it wouldn't be fun to watch. Stop the crying. And Zach, by the way, if the Red Sox really want to win tonight, there's a man on the mound that has barely pitched as of late. And when he did, he had a 45 ERA. Chris Sale is back on the mound tonight with a 14.73 ERA. I mean, Zach, give him benefit of the doubt. That's fine. I know he's trying to work his way back from injury, but you have a bigger problem tonight, and that's making sure that Chris Sale looks any good from before his injury. And that's hard to say because when he's been out there, it wasn't that pretty. So, Zach, I'm going to go on the limb tonight. I'm going to say Astros win, and Astros going to win this series.
All right, well, see, I agree. I think tonight they're going to win, and all they got to do is win one more game. They got to win it in Houston. Zach Greinke last night did not look good at all, but all his second chance, the pitch count was not too high, so he'll have a chance again if they do make it for the next 2 games. Winner tonight wins the series. I'll keep it that simple. That's my personal belief. The winner tonight does win the series. Next game on our list, Los Angeles Dodgers. We kind of already prefaced it. Big home run last night. They were up early, went down late, but then they came back and they won. You can really see the playoff experience start to bleed through. They were down 2-0 last year to the Braves. They were down 2-1. They ended up going down 3-1. Gavin, are the Dodgers going to be able to tie it up tonight, or do the Braves pull a 3-1 lead up against the Dodgers?
They're going to be fine, Zach. It's the experience, and it's also the fact that the Dodgers is a better all-out team. Now, let's give the flowers to the Braves because they deserve them. Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, and the crew, they kept this team together. They kept this team rolling. Freddie Freeman, Jock Peterson. But at some point, those guys will get out-talented by Mookie Betts. Guys like Trey Turner, a resurgence of Cody Bellinger at some sort in time. Zach, damn, you have a bat, you have to swing it at some point. And physics is a thing, right, Zach? You if you hit it hard enough, it will go out the ballpark. But pitching is also another thing, Zach. The pitchers of the Dodgers didn't have a great coming out party to begin the series. Now back at home with the home fans behind them, I think they get it done. I think they win tonight or tomorrow, and they come back out, go to Atlanta, and it's a done deal. Now, but Atlanta's not going to doorstep, ladies and gentlemen. That's something as Phillies fans that we have to notice that they are way far ahead than we think. Zach, just because the race was tight at the end and we made it look close, let's be realistic for a minute. The Braves team wasn't in first place at one point. They were actually in third, and they jumped. Not only did they jump the Mets, they also jumped us and had a pretty fair, nice lead going after it. So the Braves are not going to – I wouldn't be surprised, Zach, if the Braves win the championship next year or in 2 years from now. You don't have Ronald Acuna Jr. this year. You still don't have Soroka, and Snicker is actually a really underrated manager, in my opinion. The bullpen can use a little bit of work. But, Zach, this Braves team is going to give them all a fight. If it gets to 7 games, Zach, I do have the Braves winning. But anything before
the next 2 games would be in Atlanta tonight and tomorrow in LA. The Dodgers could flip this on their head and have a 3-2 lead going back to Atlanta. Same thing, whoever wins tomorrow night for the Dodgers, which is Game 5, will win the series ultimately. Unless the Braves, the Braves could win tonight and tomorrow, and this series could be over. Very possible. Just a lot to work with. So I still have Dodgers Astros in the World Series, but it could go anyone's way right now. It's truly up in the air. It makes it really fun. So we'll see. 5:08 is the first pitch for the ALCS. And then later tonight, 8:08, I believe, is the first pitch in Dodger Stadium. So with that being said, that about wraps up the baseball world. As Gavin said, the Braves are just getting better. So when the offseason does officially come, we can sit down and discuss some of the baseline, or at least some of the possibilities as far as what the Phillies will have to do to compete. Finally, today, I do want to end this by congratulating a player who I've been relatively critical of, Aaron Rodgers, on his ownership in the Chicago Bears company. Congratulations on purchasing some shares in the Bears. He has owned the Bears his entire career. Just a cool ad. But all jokes aside, I've still not forgiven Rodgers for his behavior in the offseason. He's kind of given a no craps given attitude this year. I don't love to see it at all. They won't win the Super Bowl. I can say that today. If I have to eat my words down the road, then he proved me wrong. Congratulations for doing it.
Willie Merciless, and they got what's his name?
But at the same time, there's still a lot of work to do for the Green Bay Packers. But it is starting to make for a nice last dance. So maybe they will win the Super Bowl. That'll be something fun to watch in the future.
And I might have to buy you a Packers jersey if it happens. I got two final things. And one thing, first, I want to say, happy birthday, Paige Beckers. Today is her birthday, Zach. You know I'm a big Paige Beckers fan. You know I think we're going all the way this year. And she said yesterday was the Big East media day, where every team in the Big East went down to Madison Square Garden and they had met with the press, we met with the media, and she said she thinks this team is better than last year's team. They added a couple more. Zach, you know how I feel about this year. I'm ready. All right, I didn't like how Ari McDonald took my squad down in a heartbreaking fashion. So we'll be back this year. And finally, Zach, yesterday you brought up having a debate about players versus past players and the egos. I would love to have the debate because I do have to say something. At times, we do have to remember that. And in sports, we do have to remember that. The old heads, the legends, that's why they're greats. They technically made the game where it was today. Guys like Shaq, Kobe, Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, the list goes on and on. We wouldn't be thinking about guys like LeBron James and Steph Curry and James Harden and Kevin Durant, because if the game wasn't as popular as it was back then, and then these guys were able to take the torch, you can't disrespect them. And that goes in football too. And for those who may not know what I'm talking about, Zach, we purposely yesterday when I came out and said DK Metcalf has to watch his mouth when you're speaking about Shannon Sharp. That's a Hall of Famer. You're just what, in your third year in the league, Zach? And if I might add, your first year was pretty horrendous, dropping a lot of touchdown balls if you're DK Metcalf. But Zach, I mean, that's a debate we can have for another day. I don't know what your opinions on, but I want to get your last thought.
We'll have to. Modesty never hurt anybody. I've never met a humble person that wasn't liked. I'll kind of keep it at that. So that being said, thank you everybody so much for joining us today on the More Than Philly Sports Network. We appreciate it. Let's go Sixers tonight. Most likely back tomorrow, maybe some pregame for the Browns-Broncos game. Please stop putting these games on Thursday Night Football.
But that game had potential. One team at least.
It did, but it doesn't. Case Keenum will be starting for the Browns. The Browns are very injured. They're probably going to miss the playoffs at this point, but they should win tomorrow night.
I mean, Zach, what's worse? Would you rather see the Jaguars versus the Jets on Thursday night, or would you rather watch next year's in Dryersville? Oh my God, what is it? The corn. It just happened this year. It's blowing my. I'm forgetting it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 4:00. I'm losing my mind. But Zach, at least what I'm trying to say is it could be worse. It could be Urban Meyer and Zach Wilson out there tonight or tomorrow. At least it's not that.
Definitely not. But yes, we will cover that and more. Thank you everybody for joining us today. We appreciate it. And the Zozo Championship also kicks off early tomorrow morning in Japan. We'll get some predictions and picks for that and follow along with it throughout the entire weekend. Thanks again for joining us today. We appreciate it and have a great rest of your day.
Have a good one, everybody. Go Sixers.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts